My name is Kelvin Owusu, and Ashraf Hakimi missed the vital lead penalty as much fancied Morocco became the latest heavyweight casualty of the Africa Cup of Nations on Tuesday, suffering a shock 2-0 defeat to South Africa in the last 16.
Little touch in from Sitoli. Makopa looks offside. It's in the back of the net. Flag stays down. The goal is given. Makopa with the opener for South Africa. Amrit, back post. Chance blocked. It will be a penalty. Hakimi. Oh, he's at the crossbar. What an opportunity. At the other end, a straight red for Amrabat. It's a very good kick. It's another goal. South Africa make it 2-0. It's 2-0 for South Africa. They're in the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations.
Well, that is how South Africa progressed to the quarterfinals, and they will face Cape Verde in Yamoussoukro on Saturday. They've been one of the surprise packages of the tournament. Morocco, who were World Cup semi-finalists in 2022, add to an ever-growing list of the continent's biggest names, still have been knocked out of this competition 24 hours after champions Senegal were eliminated on penalties by host Ivory Coast. Now, goals at the end of each half also ensured that Mali advanced to the quarterfinals as they defeated that is Burkina Faso in a very thrilling encounter.
Looking to make the break in. Chance here, blocked away, rebound, it's in!
Unfortunate there for the stallion defender, putting that ball back into his own net.
Absoba. This is where he has to earn his nonsense as a chance comes up here, popping up, and a chance! As they did! They took 3 minutes in the first half. They take 1 in the second half. And who else would it be? Al-Nassin Sinayoko. Takes one look. It's a penalty. Will he switch his plan up? Traoré! Spot on. Left, it brings them back. Full time at the Amadou Gon Coulibaly Stadium here in Korogo. It is Mali 2. Burkina Faso 1.
Mali 2, Burkina Faso 1, and Mali have not trailed in the tournament so far, and their chances of doing that were minimized when Edmond Tapsoba put through his own goal 3 minutes in, but Burkina Faso had Hef Kofi to thank as he kept them in the game. Now let's take a quick look at the quarterfinalists for this year's Africa Cup of Nations, and you look at the list. 8 teams are left now. 8 teams: Angola, Cape Verde, there is Cote d'Ivoire, there is DR Congo, there is Guinea, there is Mali, there is Nigeria, and then the Republic of South Africa. So these are the nations that have qualified. And you look at the roadmap to the final, and Nigeria play against Angola. That is a very, very tough game in there. Mali also play against Cote d'Ivoire, and then Cape Verde against the Republic of South Africa. So the winner of the Nigeria-Angola match plays against Cape Verde or South Africa, and the winner of the Mali-Cote d'Ivoire game plays against the winner of the Democratic Republic of Congo match against Guinea. So 8 quarterfinalists for the rest of the tournament. Saturday, Sunday, we have that is the quarterfinals being played, and then on Wednesday we have the 2 semifinals before the final on Sunday, the 11th of February at 8 p.m. So waiting for those crucial games. Now let's continue with some news from the Ghana Football Association, and they have issued an apology to Ghanaians for the Black Stars' subpar performance at the AFCON 2023 tournament. The statement was released after an Executive Council meeting on Tuesday, with the GFA acknowledging that the team's display was unsatisfactory and fell short of the high expectations of Ghanaians. Black Stars had a tough run, failing to secure a win. A 2-1 loss to Cape Verde in the opening game, managed a 2-2 draw against Egypt, and faced another draw against Mozambique in a must-win match. Despite initially holding a 2-goal lead, Ghana couldn't maintain it, and in the final 6 minutes capitulated and got eliminated. The Football Association extends our sincerest apologies to the good people of Ghana and all stakeholders for the recent disappointing performance of the senior national team, the Black Stars, at the Africa Cup of Nations Cote d'Ivoire 2023. The statement read, and it continues to read, "We understand the disappointment and frustration that such results can bring to our passionate, loving football fan, our passionate football-loving nation. Our team's performance fell short of the high expectations we all share, and we take full responsibility for the disappointment." That is from the Ghana Football Association. But the captain of the team, Andre Ayew, has also joined in the apologies, and he has said he takes full responsibility and believes that the rest of the team will come back stronger in subsequent games.
As the captain of the squad, I take full responsibility for what happened on the pitch, for the playing body. We should have done better. We should have made sure that we bring results to our nation. But in football, these are things that happen. These are things that make you stronger. And what doesn't kill you always make you become a stronger person individually and collectively. We are Ghana, and everybody that knows me knows that I'm never going to give up, meaning we are never going to give up. We are going to rise and shine again. We are going to do this as a family. I'd like to apologize again and show our remorse. We understand the anger, the backlash, everything that came to us. We take it and we'll make sure that we put our flag back where it belongs. Thank you very much, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Andre Ayew, the captain of the senior national team, the Black Stars of Ghana, with an apology there. Now, let's move on to some other news. And winger Maxwell Bakon has completed a transfer to Algerian club Mouloudia Club Oranges, popularly known as MC Oran, signing a deal worth 300,000 euros. The 28-year-old player joins from USM Kinshela, where he had an impressive start to the new season. So a very, very good game, good deal for him. He scored 4 goals in 11 appearances so far, and Bakon will be hoping to continue in good faith. So that is also from former Santiago SC winger. His new contract with Oran will see him earning a monthly salary of 20,000 euros, making him one of the highest paid players in Algeria. The club is hopeful that his versatility as a second striker, central attacking midfielder and winger will help them move out of the relegation zone in the second round of the league. So that is it there for Maxwell Bakon. Now let's move ahead to some results from the Premier League. Last night, Nottingham Forest suffered a 2-1 loss at the hands of Arsenal. Fulham 0, Everton 0, Luton Town 4, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. So Luton just making sure that Brighton but also suffering in there. And Aston Villa also losing 3-1 to Newcastle. But before we get into some reactions from the managers, Bofokwa Tano will be playing against Wapa FC in the MTN FA Cup round of 16. Akwabosu Young Madrid play against Bichim United at the Langley Park. There is Legon Cities against Narnia at the Theatre of Dreams in Dawo. On Sunday, the 18th of February, Nsoatreman Football Club will play against Brecum. Chelsea Karela against Asante Kotoko at the Aliu Mahama Stadium, and there's Dreams FC against Koforidia Sempefi, and there is also Elmina Sharks against Sky FC, and Soccer Intellectuals FC from Hohoi against Intellectuals against Hohoi United Football Club. So that is the MTN FA Cup results. The results of the draw in there. So on the 17th and 18th, those games for the round of 16 will be played. Now, back to the English Premier League, and I said Nottingham Forest suffered a 1-2 loss at the hands of Arsenal. Fulham drew goalless with Everton, and then there was Newcastle United suffering a 3-1 loss at the hands of Aston Villa. There was also Crystal Palace defeating Sheffield United by 3-2, and then Luton Town thrashing their opponents Brighton by 4-0. So Luton defeating Brighton by 4-0. Let's have a quick listen to Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta after the Gunners laboured to a 2-1 win at Forest.
Really happy with the performance and obviously with the results, even though at the end it was a bit tight, but we dominated the game. I think we played the game that we wanted. We didn't concede anything, and we looked a threat in various ways, which is what we needed to do, and obviously it's been 2 disappointing results in the last 2 years here, so we needed to put that right. Have to play certain balls and take the risk in the right areas because they're just waiting for that, to make mistake, to lose the ball in certain position and then run, and this is the biggest quality that they have. I'm really pleased how we understood the game.
Mikel Arteta very pleased how his players understood the game. Now, their matches coming up today. Manchester City against Burnley at 7:30. There's Tottenham Hotspur against Brentford and Liverpool against Chelsea. Ahead of that big clash, Mauricio Pochettino says Christopher Nkunku and Malo Gusto will be available in the match they scored for the Blues.
I think it's good news that can be involved. I think Malo Gusto and Christophe can be on the squad for tomorrow. Travel with us, with the team. That is a good news. And see, always we are waiting for the last moment. Is some surprise, but at the moment, yes, it's good news to have recover 2 players, and see if maybe why not to arrive Nico Jackson for tomorrow and be involved also on the game.
Like Christophe,
if he can arrive,
yeah.
you know, from.
Like Christophe, you mean Nkunku?
Yes, he's going to be involved on the squad. Yes.
Okay. Great news for the fans.
Yes. Few good news.
A few good news according to Mauricio Pochettino. But moving on to Tottenham Hotspur, and the boss Ange Postecoglou says the club are unlikely to make any more signings in this transfer window. Well, that is the January transfer window is already open, but he believes he has a very good squad to the end of the season.
I don't see any incomings. Outgoing's a little bit different because I'm not sort of totally engaged with that. Other people are doing the work around that. I'd say unlikely on both fronts without ruling anything out.
So that is Ange Postecoglou there, but Pep Guardiola has spoken on why he has stayed at Manchester City for over 7 years, looking at Jurgen Klopp leaving and also the rumours of Mikel Arteta possibly leaving. He explains why he's been at the Citizens for that long.
I think many times I have everything what a manager could dream. I have everything. Hierarchy support me, and we changed a lot of players in 7 years, but all of them have been incredible, supportive, good environment, so I have everything. So still I feel good, and of course one day is going to finish, but I don't think about that right now.
Not thinking about that right now, but Pep says that Erling Haaland will be available for selection this evening against Burnley after a lengthy number of weeks out.
Yeah, apparently will be selected, yeah. For the first time he's back. Yeah. When we have all the squad, we are stronger, definitely. And Erling is an important player for us, definitely. I've been 2 months out, long time, but he feels good. And we have the train this afternoon, but apparently tomorrow will be, with all of us. Well, one, it was muscular for the surgery, and he was stressed for the bone, so it's completely different approach. But of course, when step by step.
Step by step in there. Now, FC Barcelona will play against Osasuna this evening in the Spanish La Liga. There is also a game, Atletico Madrid against Rayo Vallecano. In the Asian Cup, Uzbekistan defeated Thailand 2-1. In Saudi Arabia, suffered a 4-2 penalty loss at the hands of South Korea. That is Korea Republic. So a 1-0 draw ended, and Mancini is ruining that loss. He is the current coach for Saudi Arabia, Roberto Mancini. I'm talking about. And in the Asian Cup later this morning, Bahrain play against Japan at 11:30, and at 4 p.m. Iran will play against Syria. Well, that will be all for sports, but we continue with the discussion. Things getting difficult for the Black Stars. Apology upon apology, but there is one shocking news. You look at the budget for the Africa Cup of Nations, and it's been I don't know, outrageous budgets for Ghana as we went into the African Nations Cup. Thankfully, or before the tournament, the Ghana Football Association and the Sports Ministry declined letting anyone know what the budget was. But after the tournament, the revelations that are popping up, that are coming out, are just outrageous. Johnny?
Bro, I think honestly that we need to do a critical assessment of how we are going about our football conversation, particularly the sports development. Yeah. But now football has become the opium of the masses, so we will look at it. It looks like we spend a lot more money, and not on
everything football. It's just Black Stars.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend a fortune, and what do we get in return? If you look at the capital injection that we've made in the Black Stars since forever, there's really nothing to show for it. Every time it's an attempt, a certain trial, a certain effort, but the effort gets dwindled and weighed down because of personal interest of individuals, people who are not too sure about their commitment to the nation. And I was listening to an editorial the other time where the whole point had come to the point where somebody was suggesting that the call up for Junior Agogo, for example, was occasioned by a video that was sent, and then he watched the video, another person watched the video. He met Kofi Nyantichi at the time.
Yeah.
They had a good laugh, and then the next thing, so Claude Leroy will look at it, and then the next thing, Junior Agogo was playing for us. I mean, it was a great addition, if you ask me, but I mean, it just tells you and goes on to point to the fact that people have influence in who is called to play with the Black Stars.
Yeah.
And that long-standing conversation about the coaches not being allowed to independently do their work as is known, as is supposed to be the case, is also coming to bear. And that's, if that happens and we lose the investments, then we really have wasted everything else. I mean, look at the scandalous spend that we've just made on AFCON.
Yeah.
And then you want to mirror that to how, for example, the people in the Kofi are asking for basic things. How children will go to school today without textbooks. How, a community has no water. Very basic things that we could have spent money to.
Yeah.
So now people are even asking the question, should we pause everything football, do a proper audit, do some self-introspection, and then bounce back better after we have sealed the holes and come together? Because it's
Johnny,
it's disheartening.
If you are listening to us right now and you want to see the actual figures and the documents backing what we are saying and the current, expose that is going on with the GFA, the sports ministry, on the Black Stars AFCON budget, join us on Facebook now, 3FM927, and just look at the document. Johnny, a whopping $5 million.
Look, $5 million. And that was what we were talking about yesterday. That, look, we went to the World Cup.
Yeah.
How much did we make? 7.5
million.
Right?
Yeah.
Dollars.
Yes.
And then we brought it home.
Yeah.
2.5 was given to the FA.
Sure.
Legacy project. And then this was what was kept.
Yes.
And then now it's being transferred. Look, it's so disheartening.
Yeah.
So disheartening to begin with, that the kind of investment we're making in football, particularly for the Black Stars, if we're channeling it into, say, boxing, we see the lads who actually engage in boxing, and we see the effort they put into it.
Exactly.
So why are we not getting the same thing, from football? And you and I have had this conversation before. The local players are not being given a lot of attention.
Not at all.
And they are not being groomed and taken care of.
It's because the domestic league is a sham.
And the domestic league will continue to be a sham because we have not made it attractive.
Not at all.
Bringing back the love is not a sloganeering activity.
Yeah.
Bringing back the love is hard work, is commitment, is dedication, is showing that you have turned a new leaf.
Yeah.
Bringing back the love is about improving your coach team, so that children who want to play football can get in there. It's good to have the academies and all of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, what effort really are we doing to groom people? So
Exactly.
it gets to a time where we have to do a Black Stars call-up, and we are always looking outside because internally we know that we have not treated the people well. Their confidence and all of that is a problem. And then so they may be starstruck, like how our Black Stars players at their first World Cup were literally starstruck. And we need to wake up. Come
And Johnny,
on.
the funny side of it is the last time we won the African Nations Cup, only 2 players played outside the country.
Yeah.
The captain, Emmanuel Kwashi, and one other player. And you ask yourself, since then, we've used local players to achieve the greatest result we've seen.
That's right.
Before qualification to the 2006 World Cup, the likes of William Thierry, George Owu, Sami Eje. So you remember the reason why Sami Eje got angry when Olele was given that opportunity to come back into the team in 2008.
Right.
Because it was more like a neglect of the local contingent.
That's right.
Now we continued, and in 2010, the players who joined the Black Stars from the local scene, Jonathan Mensah, Samuel Nkomo, Poko Ajiman Bedu, were then top players in the local league, won the Under 20 World Cup, and then they moved on to help Ghana to qualify for the AFCON, reach the finals where we were beaten by Egypt. They continued with excellent performances at the World Cup, and it continued in that particular order. But now we are so fixated on players who are being groomed outside, neglecting the local.
Sir Cecil Jones, I took with you. He took Hearts 11 to Africa.
Exactly.
And conquered Africa.
Yes. And he played with Nigeria, with Kanu.
Local players.
Local players entirely.
100% local players, homed and groomed and sharpened from here.
Yes,
he took the team from Hearts, the Don Bottes, he took them, Ishmael Ados, he took them and he went to conquer Africa. What are we? He just picked them to go and play Black Stars, that's all.
And we are paying.
He showed that we can do it. So what's our problem? Spending all this money and getting nothing in return.
And Johnny, the biggest problem is this should have been known to the public that this is what our national team would take, and this is the budget going to the AFCON. That has been, the normal, or do I say the routine?
Right.
Every time, we are going for a major tournament. Can anyone be exonerated from this, the FA and then the sports ministry?
No, I don't think so. I think that the problem of accountability has become our problem. A big problem where people in authority think that they do not owe the people some notes of accountability. But leaders must always come to the realization of the fact that you are holding that position and that power in trust for the people.
Exactly.
Without the people, you have no power. Without the will of the people, you have no power.
Yeah.
So once you get into that position of authority and trust, you must be accountable to the people every step of the way, because the money is not for you.
Yeah.
The money was not acquired because you had a fine face, or because you were not because you had a fine face, or because you had a certain association. So accountability is important, and the way we have gone about our accountability is very bad.
Yeah,
it's very bad.
Very bad. Johnny, I'll be bringing you back in, but Collins Atapuku joins us. Yes, he's a sports journalist. He was with the team in Abidjan. Ata, thank you so much. The revelations are damning, but how is it that it got to a point that the government couldn't, or the parliament couldn't even force the sports ministry to let us know the budget going into a major tournament like the African Nations Cup?
Well, it's quite worrying seeing an institution as critical in our everyday development and governance structure of Parliament struggling to get the right information from ministers who are accountable to the people they are working for. You know what? When we went to the World Cup, when the issue of how much has been extended and the GFA's money issues, the Brazil and Nicaragua friendly came up, the then minority leader spoke on the floor of Parliament, Honorable Haruna Iddrisu, the Member of Parliament for Tamale, saying that when the minister returns from Qatar, Parliament would call him to come and explain in detail with a breakdown the budgetary and expenditure
92.7
during the tournament. The Member of Parliament for New Edibiase, Honorable Adams, made a similar comment on the floor of Parliament. When the minister came back and came to Parliament to give us a summary of what had happened in Qatar, the Speaker of Parliament congratulated him for doing an excellent job in Qatar. He praised him on the floor. So all the discussion that had ensued earlier, requesting accountability, vanished. So it's not surprising that we are here. During the last AFCON, it wasn't Parliament itself, the chamber, that got the details for us. It was Ghana's disappointing performance and the committee set by Mr. Speaker at the committee level for the Committee for Sports and Culture. That got us the details, the relevant details. So it is something that has been happening, and it happens with impunity. Literally nobody cares.
Ata, looking at this, we know the GFA will prepare the budget, submit it to the Sports Ministry for approval. Can any one of the two bodies be exonerated from this? The FA think that, yes, they sent a budget that was less and the ministry bloated it over. Who should actually be blamed for this mess?
Now, the GFA will tell you, as for us, we don't have any hand in the spending. The ministry approves our budget and attaches a spending officer to the team. Mm-hmm. So as for us, all we do is to send the budget and wait for approval. Now, Kevin, let's be serious here. The GFA prepares the budget.
Yeah.
The budget goes to the Sports Ministry, who will then take the budget to the Chief of Staff office, and then the presidency for them to see this before it is approved. The approval doesn't come from the sector minister. So every fiber of our governance system is in tune with this. And you say that it takes two to tango. We are not even at the point of exonerating someone. It's filthy. And you can't exonerate anyone. But it goes through the channel. Look at the letters written by the chief director.
Yeah.
That has been brought out by Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa. And look at the CC, those who were copied in the letter. The chief of staff is copied. The minister of finance is copied. Who isn't copied? The presidency is aware. But consistently, we've turned a blind eye because it serves other purposes beyond the footballing issue. Black Stars alone shouldn't be hitting this kind of budget. What do they do? What do they spend on? Then again,
yeah.
Here. It's worrying, it's painful. Everybody involved in our governance structure should sit up. If government says no, who is the GFA? The ultimate responsibility is with the government. Let us see them as such. If they say no to the FA, there's absolutely nothing they can do. I want this. I say I can't provide. The national team belongs to the state. The state is taking care of its own product. But ask yourself, the sponsorship the GFA are making with the Black Stars, how much money are they getting? And is the government aware?
No.
If they are, how much of this goes into our consolidated fund? When it is time to spend money on the Black Stars, we are quick to go to the consolidated fund or to go to the government chest for money. When it comes to income, ask yourself, do they take these monies back to government? They have MTN, they have this, they have that, they have that, they have that. The money they are making, who does it go to? But when it's time to spend, they will come to our taxes. Every dollar that we spend on the Black Stars has an opportunity cost that could have been spent on other aspects of our life. Be it health, be it education, be it growth, be it what. So we should all look at it from that angle. We are not exonerating anybody, but the ultimate responsibility for me would always lie with the government. If the government says, I won't expend, there's absolutely nothing the GFA can do. But then again, it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
And these two, we can comfortably say, are in bed to tango.
And they being in bed to tango, I don't think it's even about the figures that is being spent. But for a country like Ghana struggling with, our economy and then financing, if it was Algeria, Morocco who can afford that, even Nigeria are spending, they've budgeted less than $2 million or $2.5 million for this particular tournament, knowing that things have become very difficult. For a country like Ghana, no National Football Academy, nothing like a very good standard pitch for even the national teams to train. That sort of scandal, how do we deal with it? And who can ultimately have these checks and balances right to help us rise from these ruins we've put ourselves in?
Nana Akufo-Addo started his tenure with infrastructural development. We saw it with the youth resource centers.
Yeah.
How many of them have we completed? That was a game-changing infrastructural development for an accelerated development of sport. And it was just football alone. Now, students from the Bono area, from various districts, could come to the Doma Park and then they do what they have to do. How come these things start? Lack of funds. If there's any project in sports we are unable to execute, it's because we don't have money. The money is not there. We get some and then we decide to spend it on recurrent expenditure. It's the president.
Yeah.
It's the president's call. Let's look beyond anybody. Forget about the Minister of Youth and Sport. He is appointed by someone. Forget about the GFA president. The money he is spending is not for him. When he was given the opportunity to get money to do infrastructure development, he decided to spend a chunk of the money on recurrent expenditure, buy footballs and boots for clubs, things that will bring long-term benefits to us. So it is the government. It is the government. It can't be anybody else. It's the government's call. And if they get it right, we are all going to be all right. If they don't get it right, we are all going to sink. It's quite clear. It's so obvious. Let's look at the government. The government decides to spend this quantum of money, not on Black Stars. We have $5 million released for the Minister of Youth and Sports and his ministry, that they should expend that on completing the youth resource centers.
Yeah.
We would not be where we are. Properly taking a second look at the symbolic Isipon Stadium, we wouldn't be where we are. Look at our pitches. Look at that. We don't have a single proper test in this country. You have a stadium that is not even befitting of modern standards. It's funny. Look, so you go to other places and look at their sports stadium. We are behind, far behind. Renovation or not, none of these stadia we have here even qualifies to host any proper tournament. It doesn't.
Not at all.
Unless you do the right thing.
Yeah.
But we have chosen to go the other way, continue to spend our meager resources on recurrent expenditure that bring us very little results and income. Ironically, we took money from Women's Development Fund, Sports Development Fund, to go and fund the men's team when we actually owe the women. Isn't it ironic?
It's crazy.
Isn't it? It is the president's call. It can't be beyond anybody else. It's him.
Yeah.
It's down on him. The president has to act. He genuinely has to save our football, to save our sport. He started so well, and I believe that he lost focus along the line by moving away from infrastructural development to this recurring expenditure that does no one else other than the GFA and their cronies at the ministry some good. Ghana, we are good enough to pay $100,000 as appearance fee to footballers and management committee members. 100,000. And then after that, we have given the GFA 2.5 million that go and use this for legacy projects. The GFA, legacy project. They took money from FIFA and couldn't even give us a befitting technical development center from Prom. They have shown time and again they are incapable. They went to the Upper East region and then did something at Winkogo, and all of a sudden, go and see the place and ask yourself if it is befitting of what others are doing with these same funds. It's about time. It's really about time. We tell Mr. President that the back ends with him. His minister was appointed. The GFA president was elected by a group of people who shamefully can actually tell you that football business is for us because we are football people or whatever we call them. But when it comes to drawing taxes of ordinary Ghanaians, they don't see that. We have a long way to go, but it will only start with the president showing the way, and Mr. President must chart the way for all of us to follow. Because if you don't, I bet you, latest July 20th, 2025, we'll be back on 3FM discussing how Black Stars have gone to blow another budget in Morocco and have come back with next to nothing.
Hatta, we know things are a bit worrying. Now, you look at the current situation of the Black Stars, and that 5-member search committee has been put together. Talking about this expenditure, we know that the chief director of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Mr. William Caesar, was the one who signed that check on behalf of the sports minister, and he's now part of that particular team that would be looking for a new coach for us. With such people or with such a person included in there, do we have any faith that the right thing is going to be done for us to have a proper coach and the Black Stars seeing a new face, a new direction going forward?
Let me tell you what, I have so much confidence in that man, William Caesar. I have so much confidence in his ability as a technocrat.
Okay.
I encountered him when he was at the House of the Council of State. That's where he moved in to come and replace Alhaji Hafiz, who was sent to the Ministry of Health. But, Kevin, I've had conversations with Mr. Caesar Kate where he's intimated that at the time we were playing those World Cup qualifiers here against Madagascar and Comoros,
Yeah.
the GFA had not submitted the report on their two friendlies with Mexico and USA.
Okay.
That was like over a month. Now, we've gone to AFCON. The GFA and Christian are yet to submit their report to the ministry. The last time I checked, which was yesterday. So, on what basis is Mr. Kate going to prefer solutions for Ghana's football development with technical direction? How is he going to do that? He's a technocrat. He relies on reports and factual information to make informed decisions. He has no report. If they had sent the report after yesterday, it would have been on his desk. So when Mr. Kate Caesar sits in a meeting of that search committee with Opokunti and Okudzeto Ablakwa, what is he going to say? What? On what basis? On what basis is he going to advise government that appoint A, appoint B? How did they even diagnose our problem to warrant the right search? So for me, it's a cosmetic operation. Again, being conjured by the ministry and the FA to get us a new coach for the status quo to remain, and then it's business as usual. The right questions you can't ask them because after all, you've sacrificed the coach. So the same Okudzeto Ablakwa who recently said that coaching is only a small part of our problem and sacrificing coaches isn't the way to go, it's on its way to going to find another coach who will be sacrificed in the long run.
Back to square one. But as I know this, the players cannot be exonerated with a corrupt, Black Stars team culture. How do players decide to take $20,000 as appearance fees for a tournament like the Africa Cup of Nations? How do we eradicate that culture that has been, cultivated around the Black Stars and in the Black Stars, especially with the players going forward, knowing that these are professionals who play for the national colors and play for the coat of arms?
Again, we are back to square one. Who offered them this money?
The FA.
Who sat in a room to negotiate that money with them? And who thought it wise and prudent enough for us to pay them that money? That person should be called. And we should ask questions of that person. If you genuinely believe that we are in a position as a country to pay this kind of money for players without any meritocracy in it, then what kind of person are you? We heard South Africa and their football association and what they told Bafana. Just because I've been called to come and play in the AFCON means that I'm going to get $20,000. So it encourages all other stakeholders to start putting pressure on the appointing authorities to make sure that people they want in there are called into the Black Stars for these tournaments. Why? Because the moment you are named in the squad, you are guaranteed a $20,000. We are festering corruption and we are festering a rotten culture that does not reward meritocracy. Again, the back ends with the president. We are not going to pay you any appearance fee. In the World Cup, when you qualify, we make money. In the African Cup of Nations, we don't make any money.
Yeah.
But yes, somebody sees it right and prudent. Again, this somebody is at the Ministry of Youth and Sports with the sector minister. This somebody is at the GFA president. These two people would genuinely think it is proper, prudent to do that.
Yeah.
So they do that and then they are left with no option than to pay other people at the FA. Not surprising that the General Secretary submitted a budget to the ministry asking that we pay him per diem for traveling to Qatar to go and work for the association that pays him.
Hata, we just hope that all these will be resolved. Thank you so much. But Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa is joining us this morning. Johnny, these revelations are damning.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, but Honorable, welcome. He's the Member of Parliament for Northtown. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you. We haven't spoken this year.
Absolutely. Many happy returns. We just got off. I mean, just had Atapoku and we'd like to pick it up from there. What are your initial sentiments of this whole fiasco that we have gotten ourselves into? A global shame, a continental failure, if you ask me, before we get into the figures. What do you say initially?
Look, we are where we are because of failed leadership. the corruption is at dizzying heights. The lack of transparency, the lack of accountability can no longer be tolerated. I mean, how on earth do public officials come up with a budget and they refuse to bring the budget to Parliament for approval? When there are laws, the Constitution is very clear. You cannot spend public funds without parliamentary approval. I mean, there are several provisions in the Constitution, several provisions in our Public Financial Management Act. They know the writing. So we are seeing unconstitutional conduct, illegality after illegality, and it's just total chaos. So that is why if you look at even the documents that I'm putting out,
right,
the finance minister attempts to do a breakdown, it doesn't add up. He's writing to Control Accountant General that released the first tranche of $5 million, which works out to 60 million. Then he proceeds to provide a breakdown, which is 22 million cedis more than the 60 million that he started writing the letter about. Now, in his letter, paragraph 3, he is instructing the Control Accountant General that release the money in tranches based on where they reach, the stage they get to.
Right.
This Control Accountant General, who just, again, illegally presented himself as a parliamentary candidate and refused to resign, despite the Supreme Court's decision on this matter, a settled matter. This Control Accountant General defies the finance minister and releases the money in full. Releases everything. If you look at the bank advice, which I've published from the Control Accountant General, he released the entire money to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And interestingly, they released it into a women's development account. I mean, it's incredible. The extent of lawlessness, the extent of total disregard for the Ghanaian people and for our laws. It is outrageous. Totally despicable. We cannot accept this.
Now, for those of you who represent us in the House of Legislature, if this was not brought to your attention, then obviously for a very, very long time, we must have been kept in the dark. Is that correct?
Oh, yes. We have been kept in the dark. Look, we kept asking in Parliament, where is the budget? They say, oh, we haven't finalized it. Oh, give us time. We will revert. And that was it. Then sports journalists continued when the House went on break. Sports journalists took it up from where we left off. The last response we got was that when we return, we they go come, as we say in Ghana. When we return. I mean, who does that? How can you go and spend public funds? Because the whole essence about getting an approval is that when you present this budget to Parliament,
right,
parliamentarians can then scrutinize line by line. You say preparation, a few days in Kumasi, 15 million. If you look at the breakdown that the finance minister signed, 15 million. We will have asked questions. A country that cannot come up with 4 million to save lives. At Kolebu, people died, 19 people died before we summoned the health minister to come to Parliament and tell us what is happening, why the renal unit is not being funded.
And they even had the effrontery to deny it when I broke the story first.
Yes, they denied it at first. And they watched on as people died. Yet, we can blow 15 million in a few days. That is the breakdown the finance minister has signed. Then, airlifting and per diem, just next door, Ghana Ivory Coast, 14 million. So if they had presented this budget, we would have asked. I would have also asked, what is the difference between per diem and honorarium? Because I'm seeing per diem there in that finance minister's breakdown, 14 million. Then I see another honorarium, 2.1 million. What's going on here? And these monies, everybody is taking some. It's not only the players. All officials, everybody from Ministry of Youth and Sports, National Sports Authority, it's become a jamboree. I like this Savannah advert. We all go paint some. This one is we all go take some. you know, and it's a free for all. Free for all. If they had presented this budget, we would have asked the relevant questions. And I'm sure we could have slashed this. Look, for the record, this $8.5 million is the highest ever. Highest ever. You can talk to your sports journalists. This is public. Yeah. We have never put a budget together that has gone beyond $6 million. This is $8.5 million.
There've been the argument.
What is even worrying, let me just conclude quickly before your next question, is that all of this is happening at a time we are faced with unprecedented economic crisis. We had the IMF seeking a bailout. I don't recall any time in our living history that people are forced to take financial haircuts. This never happened. Financial haircuts where even pensioner bondholders, senior citizens have to go and picket the Ministry of Finance for days before they can have access to their own money. Never happened in our history. And as we are faced with this unprecedented crisis, where all the rating agencies, the sovereign rating agencies, from Fitch to Moody's to Standard & Poor's, they have all downgraded as junk status. It's never happened. And this is a time that you come up with the highest Black Stars budget ever, $8.5 million. No wonder they were hiding it, concealing it from us, and they did everything to make sure that Parliament, the Ghanaian people, do not know about this figure.
Well, what do you say to those who claim, I mean, I've seen signs of the government or people within the circles of the ruling party who suggest that, well, you also lifted cash to the Black Stars elsewhere. You also are equally as guilty as you want to point accusing fingers, and that you are just trying to take a political advantage of the situation. What do you say to that?
You see, that is why we are not making progress as a country. There are some people who would always try to engage in needless, destructive equalization, even when there is nothing to equalize. When that happened, the carrying of cash, didn't we all rise up against that? Didn't we speak against it? Even the government that I belonged to, that I served in, the president took a strong view, set up the Jamafe Commission. The sports minister paid the price. You remember, he was moved away from the ministry. So people suffered consequences for that. They paid the price. So this is the whole essence of democracy, changing parties. If I'm not too happy with how you've conducted yourself, I vote against you. Is it that I vote another party in to come and do a worse thing? And then they will not even take action, no remedial action. Nobody suffers the consequence. As I speak to you, all of them are at post. Nobody has suffered the fate of Honorable Free Ankra. The sports minister is cooling off, chilling. He will not even account to Parliament. He will not even apologize to us that, look, I'm sorry for breaking the laws. This $8.5 million, okay, let me come and render full account. I'm coming with all the receipts, all the invoices. They would not even bother because they think that they can go and hide under equalization. Look, I keep saying, when we join political parties, we don't sign a pact that we will support each other when there's wrongdoing. If there was wrongdoing in an NDC government, which I was part of, I will call it out. I will criticize it. When we do the right things, I will talk about it. I will praise it. And that is why I am proud to have served under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who would deal with his own. His own National Service Director got him prosecuted. You remember the Victoria Herman matter? He immediately took action. The Honorable Abuga Pele, the former sports minister, he took action. Honorable Free Ankra. I mean, that is what the people expect. Responsible leadership. And so when you belong to a party where your leadership takes action when these matters happen, it should embolden you that you must always, at all times, stick to the national interest and speak to the principles.
What
was wrong? What was wrong then?
Right.
If somebody carried some $3 million, and they said that it was bonuses and it was carried cash, and we all criticized it. And today, people are doing a budget in secrecy. They are not presenting it to Parliament for approval. They don't have the legal basis to spend, and it is even a worse amount. We have to call it out. If it was wrong then, it is wrong today. And nobody should be silenced because there were some minor infractions in the past.
I see.
Nobody can be silent.
The Black Stars have apologized through their captain, Andre Dedeayu. Also, the GFA has apologized. Does that, if you like, numb the pain a bit for Ghanaians?
Look, we can take the apology of the players. And as for them, really, they were brought into a corrupt system, a bankrupt system. Technically, if you were the match, we were so bankrupt. Look at all these players who were criticizing. Iñaki, a few hours after he left, when he was passing, causing own goals and all of that. See the sterling performance. Scoring goals in Bilbao, in Spain, be a thorn in the flesh of Barcelona, So it's clear that, look, they just came into a system which is so bankrupt technically and financially disastrous, And for a long time, we are not addressing what has been. Look, the money we are putting into this team, into the Black Stars, and into football in Ghana keeps going up astronomically. And the performance has just been on such a fast decline. So for them, we can accept the apology. But the GFA, it's not just about apologizing and getting it. First of all, that apology was late. It's so belated. We had to virtually squeeze it out of them, force them to apologize. When they came, what did they try to do? Bring us more bills. Instead of doing a post-mortem, instead of doing a review, they hurriedly set up a committee that they are going to look for a new coach.
That's right.
A new coach to bring us more bills when you haven't accounted for what was given to you. And in this apology, what the Ghanaian people want the GFA to respond to is an accounting of the $8.5 million. First of all, why did they think that they could treat Parliament with such contempt? Treat our laws in utter disregard. And then refuse, as we speak. They told us that they would confirm the budget.
Right.
But for me, intercepting these documents, we still would not have known. They are so silent on the matter. It's only one of their members who goes around, insulting me. But I'm not one.
Let's focus on the key issus and as for those ones that there are disturbances.
Yes.
You are going back. You are going back on Tuesday.
The GFA must be accounting to us how this budget was used.
You're going back on Tuesday. Parliament is resuming, hopefully, by the grace of God. What should we expect from Parliament in terms of the demand for this accountability and how Parliament has been treated with disdain and disrespect?
We are going to be filing a motion to call for a full-scale inquiry into this whole affair. How our laws have been broken, the thought processes that went into this amount, how the monies were spent. Because remember that when you study even the finance minister's breakdown carefully, you don't see the expenditure on the supporters. I have been doing further checks, and I'm told that they put that one under national security. So even this figure could be more. So there's a lot to unravel, and we have to get to the bottom of all these issues. And Parliament is going to be activated to carry out its oversight mandate. I give you that assurance.
Great. In the meantime, there's a school of thought that all Black Star activities should be suspended so that we can do a proper audit, reorganize, regroup, and then we can go into other tournaments in future. So maybe a year break, maybe 2 years break away from all other tournaments so that we can properly restructure, clean out all the bad stuff, and then come back stronger again like the Black Star that we are. What do you say?
I fully endorse that. Nigeria did that some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even mind suffering a ban, and they came back stronger and better. And Nigerian football has been revitalized since. And a lot of the corruption that used to happen there is happening no more. So I am on all fours with that suggestion. I support it strongly. I mean, my latest write-up, I also put forward that argument that if you look at all the issues of illegalities, lack of financial accountability, no transparency. Look, we need a forensic audit. We need to delve into these matters because we can't still continue, pump hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis running into billions into a leaking basket because we're not getting any results. Look, you believe that despite all of these sums of money going into football in Ghana, a few months ago, we didn't even have a FIFA standard pitch.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't find one.
Right.
Even the Kumasi one, they just did us a favor. They had to relax the rules for us because they couldn't believe that a mighty football nation, Ghana, is such an important, a reputable country on the continent, doesn't have one. Go around the country, see the state of infrastructure, the state of our stadium, even Accra Sports Stadium is pathetic. And yet we are pumping all these billions. Where is the money going to? I mean, the local league is dead. You have a situation where all the young talents which we were unearthing through codes, through academicals, intercorp, all of that is dead. We say that we can't finance it. And yet, if you look at, you do the analysis, even from Parliament, the monies that we've approved, including 77 million which they took out from the contingency vote, which Parliament had to criticize. Only a few weeks ago in December. I mean, that illegal contingency vote they have created, because it should be a contingency fund under Article 177, which has accountability mechanisms.
Right.
They have circumvented that and created a contingency vote. They took out 77 million out of that they are going to support football. Where are the results?
Okay.
Where? What did they invest those monies into? So I agree, there must be a total freeze now. Let's have an overhaul.
Right.
Let's do a thorough post-mortem, detailed review, and then think about our way forward. If it will attract any sanctions, let it be. So be it.
Thank you, Honorable Interceptor Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, MP for North Tongue. We're grateful that you could speak to us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Johnny.
Yeah. Honorable Interceptor.
Yes, he's finished it and then we have no words. I don't know if you've heard the song, Too Much is Money, Premium or Nothing, Agbagbola. Yes, that is the GFA. Luxury or Nothing. That is the state of...
Polish on debt. Secondary school, with the polish on debt. What won't you? But you can't buy powder. What Cherolon, what bo spray. Polish on debt, pa SOS.
It's all right.
Now you know. Now you know. If you know, you know. Sunrise. All I sent down.